What's happening, my beautiful people? My name is Mike LaBelle. Welcome back to the YouTube channel. If you have not turned on the notifications, slap the LaBelle, ring the doorbell. You know this situation in this scenario. Today we're going into tiers. If you want more videos that include tiers, please like this here content. That tells me to run it up. And if you have suggestions, use the comments. We're going to talk about the last decade, actually last 12 years of FIFA installments. From FIFA 2009 to current, and I'm gonna rank them. I'm gonna give you my feedback, my opinion. I started playing FIFA back in 2004. In fact, comment below, when was your first FIFA installment? We're gonna see how frequent, how new school, old school, age ranges between all you lovely gentlemen in those comments. But without further ado, because we have a lot to talk about, let's get into placing all of these FIFA installments into tiers. My only disclaimer, I might make some adjustments at the end of the video once we've got them all aligned. They're on the board. If you like what you're looking at, you already like the premise, the concept, and you haven't liked the video, stop what you're doing, hook it up. YouTube algorithm life. Yes, I'm going to yell at you. Let's get started. We're gonna go in order from the oldest model or iteration, at least that's part of this tier make. We have FIFA 2009. Which I believe was the introduction of Be a Pro, which could have been kind of the introduction to pro clubs. I'm not going to sit here in front like I played pro clubs if it was available in FIFA 2009. It's also the year that Ultimate Team started. Also, I did not play it. At this time period, I think many of us can probably share in not playing Ultimate Team when it was first introduced. It was a big stretch. It was a reach. Most weren't early adopters. If you were, good for you. Custom tactics, customized controllers. You couldn't do the customized controllers before this. FIFA 09, did it move the needle? Of course it did. This was the beginning of Ultimate Team. Does that mean that we have to give it a top 100? Or can it sit in that elite level? This is my debate. FIFA 2010, Rooney, Lamps, Walcott. This is kind of the start of a manager mode revamped. Next steps to Ultimate Team, because if you were playing Ultimate Team back then, it was pretty incomplete. I didn't start till FIFA 2012 with Ultimate Team, and there was a lot that needed to be developed. It's come a long way to where it's currently at. There's no doubt about that, and part of that is, of course, with the financial benefits and resources and the business model and business plan. I don't think it was in motion at this period in time. FIFA 10, fantastic soundtrack. On a side note, that is definitely related. Also a World Cup year. I'm going to go right under FIFA 09. I don't think it could be in the same category. FIFA 11. We now have 360 dribbling. If you recall, a lot of the old school games, very boxy dribbling. The patterns, the movement, the player fluidity, it just wasn't there. And I'm not going to say by FIFA 11 or FIFA 12 that was perfect, but we're moving in the right direction. If you're an old school FIFA connoisseur, an enthusiast like yours truly, I remember a lot of years where you were moving left, right, forward, back. They didn't even have the diagonal. It wasn't built into what was going down. Your analog, it didn't work the same. I'm gonna have it as a gold right next to FIFA 10. I think that it should sit in the middle of the pack. We might have some slight maneuverability. FIFA 12, I remember this year quite well. And this is where I call the golden era of foot, is FIFA 12 to FIFA 16, where the majority of us got our real, true start to playing Ultimate Team and then developing the squads and then relating to something, whether it was on the actual pitch, the virtual pitch, the skill moves, the high-scoring affair, the more arcadey approach, because let's not lack transparency. FIFA 12 to FIFA 16 are very arcadey titles. This is also where you had the impact engine, tactical defending, precision dribbling, which is basically you had better manual defending, and the dribbling, close control, you can move and groove a little bit easier. We had head-to-head seasons. FIFA 12 is going into that elite category. Big year for yours truly. FIFA 13, still relatively similar, and to a certain degree, it's in that golden foot era that's very attacking, very quick, very fast moving. First touch control was a focus in this year, attacking intelligence. It's actually very interesting, or quite interesting. The off the ball and on the ball movement, both defensively and offensively, you could easily argue was more naturally integrated in a progressive manner in some of the older FIFA installments. FIFA 13, I'm going to put also in the gold area. A lot of the golden foot era, I don't think you could have the bronze, silver, can't even qualify. The games just didn't miss anything to a drastic capability, and they were very fun to play. FIFA 14, I remember the announcement of Ignite. I think it's FIFA 14. I'm doing a lot of this off memory. It's interesting. Every time we had a new engine, the graphics and the animations and the cutscenes always improved drastically, but the gameplay never matched those types of improvements. I'm not saying that they took a downward turn, but it definitely wasn't an upward turn the same way that we could notice where you had these emotions and you'd see sweat all of a sudden dripping off players' faces and the hair's moving, and it just had a different vibe and a different look, especially when you're looking at the stadium ambiance or the atmosphere and the new animations. Very much so a year that worked on explosion in FIFA 14 as well. I remember a lot of stop and go with the dribbling. There was big skill gaps between the golden foot era, and if you don't believe me, do you remember playing with an all silver team and dominating? Because I did. I made content on it. I could see the game faster, my press was better, some of the intricacies, I had that competitive advantage. With all that being said, we're still sticking on this gold theme. We'll see if I want to move. Now, FIFA 15, if you know me well, this is the body feint OP, personal growth year. I had so much fun with this game. Emotional intelligence was one of the focus points. I remember the players getting all excited or being upset if you scored or if you conceded or if you missed a penalty kick. The game, from a gameplay perspective, was very focused around agility and control. So it's an offensive player's dream. Was it the most realistic FIFA? Absolutely not. Not even close. I remember chip through balls and 4-2-2 formations. I'm just tossing it forward, and I was dribbling more than I was passing sometimes. But for me, I love the game. I have that attachment, so we're giving it top 100. FIFA 16 was the less popular cousin, or not as enjoyable second dish at dinner. I don't know the comparison, but I did not enjoy FIFA 16 as much as FIFA 15. There was more bounce backs. Still super offensive, high scoring, fast paced. I'm sure Huge Gorilla would have this as a top 100. I'm actually going to put FIFA 16 into the gold category, and I'm going to bump up FIFA 14 to elite. It was a little more of a precursor for FIFA 15, which I absolutely adored, and I feel as if FIFA 14 laid some of the groundwork for that title. So we've already made our first shift. FIFA 17, we have an announcement of a new engine again. We had the Journey. Maybe the biggest announcement we've seen thus far is we actually had esports, traditional esports, competitive calendar, foot champs, weekend league. It started out as 40 games. This is a massive title for the series. The gameplay was also very good. Big skill gaps. Was it perfect? No. I remember a lot of shielding, a lot of holding of the ball, but many of us from a competitive level really appreciated FIFA 17 because the skill gap was significant. You didn't lose many games to people that you weren't supposed to beat, but it was kind of a grind. I remember a lot of games that were low scoring affairs, often felt like it was going to be the first player to break through. With all that being said, I still believe that it's a top 100 and it deserves to kind of sit on that throne. FIFA 18 is sort of the forgotten of the next generation era, which is the FIFA 17 to present time. I've actually put a lot of thought as to how I categorize different periods of FIFA, because at the end of the day, you really can't judge them all the same. We're doing our best here, but because of content and what's been involved with Ultimate Team and that progression, that's a dramatic shift in terms of how much playability and longevity a title actually would have. I'm actually going to put this into a silver category. It's going to be our first lower drop. I just don't have takeaways from FIFA 18. I don't think it was bad. I don't think it was good. It just didn't move the needle. FIFA 19. Time finishing. Hated it. Goalkeeper movement. It wasn't balanced proper. Tactical changes were introduced on the fly where you could switch between formations. You had volleys. I actually liked the concept around time finishing, even with goalkeeper movement, but it was so misappropriated in this title in particular. And this was the most arcadey FIFA installment we've had for sure in the next gen era, but maybe even in the last 10 years. High scoring affairs, it was El Tornadoes, flick up crosses, everything in the air. Even though there was a skill gap because of some of these features that were introduced and not everybody was able to learn them, I didn't like the game. I really didn't like the game. I think I'm gonna put it as a can't even qualify. It's probably the worst FIFA for me. FIFA 20, it's a track back affair. Low scoring games. We had new free kicks. People try to compare because you have a recency bias, what's happening currently, and then they go back in time and say, well, the other game wasn't that bad, or they have recency biased, and you go back in time and say, well, actually, the game from 5 years ago didn't have any flaws. It was really enjoyable, or last year's installment, it wasn't really that bad, or we didn't see significant improvements. You get where I'm going. FIFA 20 is an okay title. It's better than FIFA 19. I'm going to put it into the silver. I don't know if we're going to touch the bronze today. And then last but not least is where we're at currently. So FIFA 21 is the best year we've seen, arguably, with content, which also makes sense. It's the most recent installment. They put out so much content, I can't even keep up with it. Gameplay wise, the player lock is a cool addition. I think it's a nice idea. It's also not that easy to use. I would not say I have a mastery, and I've played a lot of FIFA 21. The directional nutmeg, also I like the concept, but it's way too overpowered. We've seen multiple patches, plenty of sweat, especially in this weekend league. If you average everything in, I think that FIFA 21 is still going to come out to probably being in a gold area. It's definitely not an elite title. It's not a top 100 title. But when you look at how much content, the longevity of the title, some moments of gameplay that you're really happy with, or certain patches, there were different periods of this year's installment where I definitely co-signed the title heavy. I do think we need to see a bit of a rework in terms of game modes and a better combination of casual and competitive, and then there's a whole nother argument we could have. I could do a dedicated video on FIFA 21 and what I like to see next up in FIFA 22. Maybe we should take FIFA 09 just since it's the start of Ultimate Team and put it into that top 100. Probably deserves that recognition. So FIFA 09 has moved up. 12, 13, and 14, I just gave an extra cushion as well. I really enjoyed that period of FIFA. I think it deserves an elite recognition. From the gold perspective, we have 10, 11, 16, and 21. Feels about right for me. Some of you will have 16 higher up if you're really throwing it back. We got 18 and 20, and then the worst category for me is FIFA 19, which I just couldn't come to with. It did not parallel what I was looking for in a football title. Thanks again for watching. If you enjoyed everything, make sure to drop some love. If you want more tiers videos, that's the easiest way to say, Mike, more of this, bring it out on the YouTube channel. I'm here porting it. I'm gonna eat that content up, especially considering that we're kind of coming into the later stage of the FIFA year. I'd love to do more tiers because it allows us to go into more evergreen content, but we upload and we create daily. Have a lot more coming out for you ASAP.